The hologram flickered in the center of the UN Security Council chamber, its crystalline form casting prismatic shadows across the faces of Earth's most powerful leaders. Admiral Jessica Hayes forced her hands to remain steady at her sides, but her knuckles had gone white with restraint. 27 years in the Navy hadn't prepared her for this moment. Your species has been deemed inefficient in its management of Class A hydrological resources, the alien representative announced, its voice a discordant symphony of tones. The Galactic Concordat hereby claims administrative rights over your planetary water supply. Resistance is inadvisable. The chamber erupted in multilingual outrage. Hayes caught fragments of Mandarin, Russian, and French, all demanding immediate military response. But her attention was fixed on the subtle flashing of her neural implant, a priority message from the Mariana Trench Research Station. "Ladies and gentlemen," she called out, her voice cutting through the chaos with practiced authority. "Dr. Anderson needs to speak with us immediately." The holographic display split, and Dr. Michael Anderson's face appeared alongside the alien representative. His usually pristine lab coat was wrinkled, and dark circles under his eyes suggested he hadn't slept in days. "Admiral Hayes, the Concordat's transmission confirmed our worst fears. Their technology signatures match Project Poseidon's predictions exactly." Hayes nodded grimly. For 15 years, they'd been preparing for this possibility, ever since the first alien signals were detected. While the public celebrated the prospect of peaceful first contact, a select group of scientists and military leaders had been watching the stars with growing concern. "How long until the quantum matrices are ready?" Hayes asked, knowing every second counted. "We're at 93% capacity," Anderson replied, his fingers dancing across an off-screen interface. "But there's a problem. The Concordat's scanning technology, it's more advanced than we anticipated. If they detect the quantum disturbances in the ocean before we're fully prepared." The alien representative's crystalline form shimmed with what Hayes had learned to recognize as impatience. "Your internal discussions are irrelevant. You have 24 Earth hours to prepare your world for resource extraction. Attempts to resist will result in immediate quarantine and forced compliance." Hayes stepped forward, her reflection fragmenting across the alien's crystalline surface. "We'll need time to inform our population and prepare for the transition," she said, forcing a tremor into her voice. "Surely the Concordat understands the complexity of organizing 8 billion people." The alien's form pulsed with colors that their xenobiologists had associated with smug satisfaction. "Your species' primitive organizational structures are precisely why the Concordat must assume control. Your response time is non-negotiable." As the alien hologram faded, Hayes was already moving. "Dr. Anderson, initiate Protocol Darkness. I want every settlement from Luna to Mars dark within 6 hours. Make it look like panic." Anderson's image expanded to fill the display. "What about the civilian populations off-world?" "Captain Reed's already implementing the evacuation. The Concordat needs to think we're running scared." Hayes turned to address the chamber. "Ladies and gentlemen, everything we've prepared for is happening exactly as predicted. The Concordat believes they're dealing with a primitive species that will either submit or respond with brute force. They're expecting missiles, nuclear weapons, or desperate pleas for mercy." She allowed herself a small, grim smile. "Instead, they're going to learn why you should never back a human into a corner, especially when that human has spent the last 15 years turning their greatest weakness into their greatest weapon." As the world leaders filed out to implement their parts of humanity's response, Hayes opened a secure channel to the Mariana Trench facility. "Dr. Anderson, you have 12 hours to complete the quantum matrices. When the Concordat comes for our oceans, I want them to find out exactly what humanity can do with water." The next 24 hours would change the course of human history. The only question was whether the Concordat would realize their mistake before it was too late. "Status report," Captain Thomas Reed barked, watching holographic projections dance across the Lunar Command Center's main display. Each green dot represented a colonial evacuation vessel successfully departing Mars or Venus. Red dots marked the ones still loading. There were far too many red dots for his comfort. Hellas Planitia is at 70% evacuation. Acidelia at 65. His second-in-command reported. Venus's Cloud City is proving problematic. Reed cursed under his breath. Cloud City, humanity's floating outpost in Venus's upper atmosphere, housed over 100,000 colonists. Its evacuation pods were designed for emergencies, not mass exodus. His neural implant chimed, a private channel from his daughter. Lieutenant Emma Reed's face appeared in his peripheral vision, her spacesuit marked with the distinctive black and silver of the orbital core. "Dad, we've got company." Emma's voice was tight with tension. Concordat scout ships just dropped out of FTL past Neptune. They're running full-spectrum scans. Time to make it look good, then. Reed switched to the General Command channel. "All stations, initiate evacuation protocol Sierra. I want visible panic, people. Make it messy, make it scared, but keep our birds flying." Across the solar system, humanity's greatest acting performance began. Colony ships launched in seemingly chaotic patterns, some barely half full, others appearing to flee without proper preparation. Below them, automated systems began shutting down colonial infrastructure in a carefully choreographed display of desperate abandonment. "Satellite Team Alpha in position," Emma reported. The feed from her helmet camera showed Earth's orbital space, already littered with what appeared to be defunct satellites, casualties of humanity's panic. Each dead satellite contained a piece of the quantum trap, waiting to be triggered. "Be careful up there, Lieutenant," Reed said, maintaining professional distance despite his paternal instinct to order her back to safety. "Those satellites need to look completely dead to their scans." "Don't worry, Captain," she replied with a hint of a smile. "I learned from the best how to play dead." Reed allowed himself a moment of pride before returning to the evacuation feed. The red dots were slowly turning green, but not fast enough. The Concordat ships would reach scanner range within hours. His neural implant chimed again. Admiral Hayes this time. "Captain, we're picking up increased quantum signatures from the scout ships. They're doing deep scans of the colonies." "Good," Reed replied. "Let them see what we want them to see. Empty homes, abandoned equipment, and a species running scared from superior force." A new alert flashed across his display. Cloud City's status had changed to critical. The floating colony's atmospheric tethers were failing faster than expected. 40,000 civilians still waited for evacuation. "Lieutenant," he called to his daughter, "I'm redirecting your team to Venus. Cloud City needs immediate assistance." "Already plotting the course," Emma responded. "Those people won't be left behind." Reed watched as the satellite placement mission transformed into a rescue operation. His daughter's team used their stealth technology, intended for deploying the quantum trap, to slip past the approaching Concordat scouts. Their timing had to be perfect. Save the civilians while maintaining the illusion of panicked retreat. Hours passed in a blur of tactical decisions and coordination. As the last evacuation ships disappeared into Earth's atmosphere, Reed initiated the final phase. Colonial reactors began their false meltdown sequences, atmospheric processors shut down, and lights across human space winked out one by one. Concordat fleet is holding position near Mars orbit. Emma reported, her team's rescue mission completed with minutes to spare. "They're scanning the abandoned colonies." "Wait, something's wrong. They're not following the predicted pattern." Reed's display lit up with new data. The Concordat ships were moving faster than expected, their formation suggesting they'd seen through part of the deception. "Admiral Hayes," he called, "we may have a problem. The Concordat's not buying our act entirely. They're moving to secure orbital positions earlier than anticipated." "Stick to the plan, Captain," Hayes replied, her voice steady. "If they want to rush into our trap, we'll just have to adapt. After all, that's what humans do best." As Reed watched the alien ships advance, he couldn't help but smile. The Concordat, was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their resources. It was in their ability to turn apparent weakness into strength, retreat into ambush, and silence into deadly purpose. 3 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean's surface, Commander Ashley Mitchell watched her underwater battalion run their final drills. Through the reinforced windows of Deep Command Beta, the massive forms of the Poseidon-class mech suits moved with deadly grace, their biomimetic designs allowing them to cut through water like marine predators. Echo Squad, tighten up that formation, she ordered through the quantum-encrypted comm system. Those suits cost more than your entire bloodline. Try not to scratch them on the thermal vents. The squad adjusted, their movements becoming more precise. Each suit stood 20 feet tall, designed to function seamlessly in both crushing ocean depths and the vacuum of space. Their outer shells, composed of self-repairing nanomaterials, gleamed with bioluminescent markings, a feature copied from deep-sea creatures. Her neural implant pulsed with an incoming transmission. "Command, this is Jake." Her brother's voice came through, tight with urgency. "We've successfully penetrated the Concordat's lower-tier communication networks. You're not going to believe what we found." Ashley moved to her private command pod, securing the quantum-shielded channel. "Give me good news, little brother." "Better than good," Jake replied. The excitement in his voice was palpable. "Their entire tactical database is based on predictive algorithms. They don't adapt well to chaos. They try to force everything into recognizable patterns. And guess what species is absolutely terrible at following patterns? Humans." Ashley smiled, watching her troops perform maneuvers that would have been impossible just 5 years ago. "Send everything you've got to Admiral Hayes. How's the disinformation campaign going?" "Beautiful," Jake chuckled. "We've got them convinced Earth's military capabilities peaked at nuclear submarines and space shuttles. Their threat assessment algorithms are practically laughing at us." A warning klaxon cut through their conversation. Ashley's displays lit up with multiple alerts. Above them, the Concordat fleet had begun their descent into low Earth orbit. "All squads, battle stations," she commanded, her voice carrying through every deep-sea installation across the globe. "This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." Through the reinforced windows, she watched as her soldiers moved with practiced precision. The massive hangar doors began to open, revealing rows upon rows of Poseidon suits and deep-sea vessels, each one representing the pinnacle of human engineering and determination. "Commander," her XO called out, receiving transmission from Mariana Command. "Dr. Anderson reports quantum matrices are at full capacity. They're ready to initiate protocol undertow on your mark." Ashley took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Jake, what's their fleet formation looking like?" "Predictable," her brother responded. "Standard resource extraction pattern. They've positioned their primary vessels directly over the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans, exactly where we want them." She opened a channel to all deep-sea commands. "This is Commander Mitchell. For generations, humanity looked to the stars, dreaming of the day we'd meet our cosmic neighbors. Today, those neighbors came not in peace, but in conquest. They looked at our oceans and saw only a resource to be taken. They looked at our species and saw only primitive beings to be dominated." Through her command screens, she could see similar scenes playing out in underwater bases across the globe. Thousands of soldiers in Poseidon suits, each one prepared for the fight of their lives. "But they made one crucial mistake," she continued. "They assumed our waters were our weakness. They never considered that we turn our oceans into our greatest strength. Everyone knows their positions. Everyone knows their roles. When they breach our atmosphere to steal our waters, we'll show them exactly what humanity has been preparing for." The klaxons changed tone. The Concordat ships had begun their descent. "All units, initiate emergence protocols," Ashley ordered, watching as her troops moved into attack formation. "Let's show these aliens why Earth's oceans have always belonged to humanity." As the first Concordat extraction ships touched the Pacific surface, Ashley couldn't help but smile. Above them, the aliens were about to learn that humanity's silence wasn't submission. It was the calm before a storm 3 miles deep and centuries in the making. Major David Cooper stood at the helm of Atlantic Deep Command, his fingers hovering over the quantum interface as he watched the Concordat's massive extraction ships descend through Earth's atmosphere. Their arrogance was almost beautiful. They'd positioned their vessels in perfect formation, ready to begin systematic drainage of Earth's oceans. Concordat vessels have breached the thermosphere, his AI assistant reported. Extraction systems deploying. They're beginning water collection procedures. Let them take the first sip, Cooper murmured, his eyes fixed on the tactical display. Each alien ship appeared as a pulsing red giant, their massive forms casting shadows over the Atlantic. Let them think they've won. The first streams of water began rising from the ocean's surface, twisted pillars of blue reaching toward the alien ships like reverse waterfalls. Cooper's neural implant buzzed with incoming data. The nanites within each water droplet were already transmitting. The Concordat's extraction technology was even more advanced than their intelligence had suggested. "Sir," his second-in-command, Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez, called out. "Detection grid is picking up quantum fluctuations. They're scanning deeper." Cooper's jaw tightened. Time to show them our party trick. Initiate Operation Thunderstorm. Authorization Cooper, Alpha 7-9. Across Earth's orbit, thousands of seemingly dead satellites simultaneously activated. Each one contained a piece of humanity's quantum trap, technology that the Concordat had deemed theoretically impossible. The defunct satellites created a complex web of quantum fields, each one perfectly calibrated to interact with the others. "Quantum field generators at full power," Rodriguez reported, her voice tense with anticipation. "Field integrity at 98% and holding. We have complete coverage." Cooper opened a secure channel to all Earth defense commands. "All stations, this is Major Cooper. Operation Thunderstorm is go. I repeat, Thunderstorm is go." The effect was instantaneous. The quantum field snapped into place like a giant bubble around Earth's orbit, creating a zone where faster-than-light travel became impossible. The Concordat ships, caught in the middle of their extraction procedure, suddenly found themselves trapped. "Multiple energy spikes detected," the AI announced. Concordat vessels attempting emergency FTL jumps, all attempts failing. They're realizing they're trapped. Cooper allowed himself a grim smile. "Now for Phase 2. Commander Mitchell, they're all yours." From the depths of the Atlantic, the first wave of humanity's response emerged. Poseidon-class mech suits, their surfaces gleaming with bioluminescent patterns, shot upward through the water columns the Concordat had created. The aliens had unknowingly provided perfect attack vectors for Earth's defenders. "Sir," Rodriguez's voice cut through the command center. "Concordat ships are attempting to reverse their extraction beams. They're trying to use them as weapons." "Exactly as predicted," Cooper replied calmly. "Initiate Protocol Riptide." The water columns suddenly seemed to take on a life of their own. The nanites within each droplet activated their secondary programming, turning the aliens' extraction beams into chaotic maelstroms. Concordat ships that had been so precisely positioned now found themselves being battered by their own technology. "Multiple impacts detected," the AI reported. Concordat vessels taking heavy damage from redirected water pressure. Their formation is breaking. Cooper watched as humanity's years of preparation paid off. The Poseidon suits, now reaching the surface, began their assault on the disoriented alien ships. Each suit carried weapons specifically designed to target the Concordat's supposedly superior technology. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the Concordat flagship," Rodriguez announced. They're demanding to know what we are." Cooper couldn't help but laugh. "Send them our prepared response. We are humanity. We are the children of Earth's oceans. And you just made a terrible mistake." As the battle raged above, Cooper opened a channel to Admiral Hayes. Operation Thunderstorm is successful, Admiral. The trap is sprung. The Concordat fleet is contained and taking heavy losses. Excellent work, Major, Hayes replied. But stay alert. The Concordat's led by survivors. They're not going to accept defeat easily. Cooper nodded, watching as more Poseidon suits emerged from the depths. The real battle was just beginning, but humanity had achieved something unprecedented. They'd caught the mighty Concordat completely off guard. Let them fight back, he thought. They're about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our ability to turn the tide. Lieutenant Colonel Rachel Williams felt the Leviathan shudder beneath her feet as it broke through the surface of the Indian Ocean. The massive water fusion battleship, nearly a mile long, rose from the depths like a metal sea serpent. Streams of water cascaded from its quantum-hardened hull, bioluminescent markings pulsing with power. All hands, battle stations, she commanded from the bridge. Show these aliens why we named our ship after a sea monster. The Leviathan's tactical display lit up with dozens of Concordat vessels, their formations already broken by the initial assault. But these weren't the extraction ships. These were their warships, finally revealed as the Concordat realized the true nature of their opposition. "Ma'am," her tactical officer called out. "Concordat battle group approaching from Vector 270. They're charging weapon systems." Rachel smiled. "Time to show them how humans fight. Initiate attack pattern Hydra. Deploy water shields." The Leviathan's most revolutionary feature activated, its water manipulation system. Millions of gallons of seawater rose around the ship, controlled by quantum fields that defied conventional physics. The water formed complex, layered barriers that could absorb and redirect energy weapons. Concordat vessels firing. Plasma beams lanced through the sky, aimed at the Earth vessel with devastating precision. But as they struck the water shields, something unexpected happened. The water didn't vaporize. It captured the energy, channeling it through prescribed paths like lightning through a conductor. "Return fire," Rachel ordered. "Show them what their own weapons feel like." The captured energy, amplified by the quantum-infused water, shot back at the alien ships. Their shields, calibrated for conventional weapons, offered little protection against their own reflected firepower. "Direct hits on 3 vessels," her tactical officer reported with barely contained excitement. "Their shield configurations are failing. They've never seen anything like this." Rachel opened a channel to the Poseidon suit squadrons operating nearby. "All units, the Leviathan will create your attack corridors. Storm pattern Delta. Hit them where they least expect it." The massive battleship surged forward, its water shields morphing into massive tentacle-like formations. Each watery appendage created safe passages through the battlefield, allowing the Poseidon suits to literally swim through air towards their targets. "Concordat ships attempting to regroup," the sensor officer announced. "They're trying to establish a defensive perimeter." "Perfect," Rachel grinned. "They still think this is a conventional space battle. Initiate Protocol Maelstrom." The Leviathan's quantum cores pulsed with power as they excited the water molecules around the alien formation. In moments, a massive whirlpool formed in midair, trapped in a quantum bubble that defied gravity. Concordat ships, despite their advanced technology, found themselves caught in a vortex of weaponized water. "Ma'am," her communications officer suddenly called out. "We're picking up transmissions between Concordat vessels. They're calling us ocean demons." A laugh rippled through the bridge. Rachel allowed herself a moment of satisfaction before refocusing on the battle. "Let's live up to that name. All batteries, concentrate fire on their flagship. Show them why you don't threaten a planet that's mostly water." The Leviathan's main guns roared to life, launching projectiles composed of super-compressed water accelerated to near-light speed. When they struck their targets, the water's quantum properties caused it to explosively decompress, tearing through alien hull plating like tissue paper. "Multiple confirmed kills," Tactical reported. "Concordat fleet is attempting to retreat, but they're realizing they can't jump to FTL." Rachel watched as the alien ships tried desperately to escape the quantum trap that held them in normal space. Their once proud formation had devolved into chaos, their superior technology rendered nearly useless against weapons they'd never imagined possible. "Send word to Admiral Hayes," she ordered. "The Indian Ocean Theater is secured. The Leviathan stands ready for Phase 2. As her crew cheered, Rachel thought about all the years of preparation, all the doubts they'd overcome. The Concordat had thought they were claiming an easy prize. Instead, they'd awakened something they couldn't comprehend: humanity's mastery over their own oceans. "Keep those water shields up," she commanded. "Something tells me the Concordat isn't done learning their lesson yet." Dr. Kevin Barnes stood in his underwater laboratory, watching streams of data flow across holographic displays as his creation wreaked havoc across the Concordat fleet. Each droplet of water they'd stolen from Earth carried microscopic machines of his design, nanites programmed to transform alien technology into useless slag. "Nanite infection rate at 70% and climbing," his AI assistant reported. "Concordat vessels are experiencing catastrophic systems failures across all theaters." Through the lab's quantum-linked displays, he watched as alien ships began losing power, their once mighty weapons falling silent. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. "Lisa," he called through his neural implant to his wife. "How's the boarding operation going?" Combat engineer Lisa Barnes's voice came through, punctuated by the sounds of combat. "Just breached their flagship's outer hull. You should see their faces, Kevin. They look like they've seen ghosts." The feed from her helmet camera showed Concordat crew members backing away from the boarding party. The aliens, their crystalline forms reflecting the emergency lights, had never expected to face humans in direct combat, especially not humans wearing powered armor designed to channel water as a weapon. "Their internal security systems?" Kevin asked, fingers dancing across his control interface. "Failing exactly like you predicted," Lisa replied. "Your nanites are beautiful, honey. They're turning their own life support water against them." Kevin allowed himself a small smile. Years of research, countless failed experiments, all leading to this moment. Access their central computer core. We need to know everything about their homeworlds. Already on it, Lisa grunted, and a camera feed showed her team securing the flagship's bridge. "These aliens really don't understand water, do they? They never considered we'd weaponize the molecular structure itself." A new alert flashed across Kevin's displays. The nanite infection had reached the Concordat's communication systems. Their encrypted transmissions were now an open book. "Dr. Barnes," Admiral Hayes's voice cut through his thoughts. "Status report." "Better than expected, Admiral," he replied, sending her the latest data. "The nanites aren't just disabling their ships. They're rewriting their molecular structure. Every system that uses water for cooling, for power generation, for life support, it's all being converted into a form they can't use." "Sir," one of his assistants called out, "we're detecting quantum fluctuations from the Concordat fleet. They're trying to purge the infected water." Kevin watched as the aliens attempted to save their ships, dumping countless gallons of water into space. But it was too late. The nanites had already spread through their systems like a virus, multiplying and adapting. "Lisa," he called, "what are you seeing up there?" His wife's camera showed Concordat crew members surrendering en masse. They know they've lost Kevin. Their entire infrastructure depends on water processing. Without it, their civilization crashes, he finished. "Admiral Hayes, you need to see this. The data we're pulling from their systems, they've built their entire empire on stolen water resources. Thousands of worlds stripped of their oceans." Hayes's voice was grim. "Then it's time they learned the cost of their actions. Dr. Barnes, initiate protocol watershed." Kevin's hands moved across his interface, activating the nanite's final protocol. Across the Concordat fleet, the molecular structure of every drop of processed water began to change, becoming useless for their technology. "It's done," he announced. "Even if they retreat, even if they escape, The nanites will spread through their entire water distribution network. Their empire will fall unless they meet our terms. Through Lisa's feed, he watched as the alien captain, its crystalline form dulled with defeat, formally surrendered the flagship. Humanity hadn't just defeated a superior force. They'd revealed the fundamental weakness of an entire civilization. "Lisa," he called softly. "Come home safe." "Always do, honey," she replied. "Someone has to keep you from spending all your time with your nanites." As Kevin watched the Concordat fleet go dark, system by system, he thought about all the worlds they'd stripped of water, all the civilizations they'd destroyed. Today, humanity hadn't just defended Earth. They'd become the champions of every world the Concordat had ever victimized. "Time to show them," he muttered. "That water isn't just a resource. It's life itself." Ambassador Jennifer Crawford stood aboard the captured Concordat flagship, her former Navy SEAL training evident in her stance as she faced the alien delegation. The ship's bridge, once a marvel of crystalline technology, now lay dark and powerless, illuminated only by emergency lighting. "Your terms are impossible," the Concordat's high administrator hissed, its crystalline form dulled with stress. "You cannot expect us to simply restructure our entire civilization." Jennifer's neural implant streamed real-time data about the aliens' vital signs, courtesy of Dr. Barnes's nanites. She could literally see their fear. "What's impossible?" she replied, her voice carrying the weight of Earth's combined military might. "Is thinking you could steal our oceans without consequences. Let me show you something." She gestured, and a holographic display activated, showing her 17-year-old son, Marcus, standing at the shores of Lake Michigan. The image was live, transmitted across quantum channels. "That's my boy," she said, allowing pride to color her voice. "He's part of the first generation of humans to grow up knowing we're not alone in the universe. And today, he's watching to see whether the Concordat learns to coexist, or whether they choose extinction." The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably. Through her neural feed, Jennifer received updates from Admiral Hayes. The nanite infection had reached critical levels throughout the Concordat's empire. Their entire infrastructure was failing. "Your species," the High Administrator spoke, its harmonics carrying distinct notes of distress, "has already destroyed centuries of progress. Our water processing networks are useless. Billions will suffer." "Billions already have suffered," Jennifer countered, bringing up new displays showing worlds the Concordat had stripped of resources. "We accessed your historical archives. 37 civilizations, 37 worlds drained of their oceans. Did you think there would never be consequences?" She walked around the holographic display, her movements deliberately slow and controlled. "But unlike you, we're offering a choice. Humanity's terms are simple: immediate recognition of Earth's sovereignty, full reparations to all worlds you've harvested, and complete restructuring of the Concordat with human oversight." "And if we refuse?" another delegate challenged. Jennifer's smile was cold. "The nanites don't just destroy technology. Dr. Barnes designed them to replicate, to spread. Right now, they're dormant in every drop of processed water in your empire. One command, and they activate fully. Your civilization wouldn't just fall, it would dissolve." Through her neural link, she received a message from Marcus. "Show them what humanity stands for, Mom." Her expression softened slightly. "But destruction isn't our goal. Earth remembers its history. We remember our own wars over resources, our own near destruction of our environment. We learned, we adapted, we survived. Now we're offering you the same chance." The High Administrator's crystalline form pulsed with rapid color changes, their equivalent of intense emotional distress. "You would help us rebuild. After we tried to steal your worlds. Help you rebuild." Jennifer laughed. "We'll do better than that. Earth's scientists have already developed sustainable water processing technology. No more stealing oceans, no more destroying worlds. We'll help you transform the Concordat into something that creates rather than destroys." She brought up new holographic displays showing Dr. Barnes's sustainable water cycling systems. This is humanity's true strength. Not just our ability to fight, but our ability to find better ways forward. The alien delegates huddled, their crystalline forms resonating as they communicated in frequencies beyond human hearing. Finally, the High Administrator stepped forward. "We accept Earth's terms," it announced, its form shifting to formal diplomatic patterns. "The Concordat submits to human oversight. We will make reparations. We will learn." Jennifer opened a channel to Admiral Hayes. "The Concordat accepts our terms. Initiate nanite deactivation protocols." As she watched the alien delegates react to their systems coming back online, Jennifer sent a private message to her son. "Today you saw humanity's strength, Marcus, not just in victory, but in mercy." The response came back instantly. "You did it, Mom. You showed them what Earth really stands for." Jennifer smiled, watching as human and alien technical teams began working together to restore the flagship's systems. Today marked not just a victory, but a transformation. For humanity, for the Concordat, and for every civilization that had ever looked to the stars with hope. Fleet Admiral James Walker stood at the observation deck of the Concordat flagship, now renamed Unity, watching Earth rotate below. 6 months had passed since the day humanity revealed its true power, and the galaxy had changed more than anyone could have imagined. "Admiral," Dr. Emily Andrews called from behind him, her footsteps echoing on the crystalline floor. The first trials of the Andrews Protocol were successful. 3 former Concordat worlds had their oceans back. Walker turned, smiling at the scientist whose water restoration technology had become the foundation of the new galactic economy. "Show me." A holographic display materialized between them, showing 3 planets with newly restored oceans gleaming under alien suns. The Andrews Protocol, a combination of human water management technology and reformed Concordat science, had accomplished what was once thought impossible. "The indigenous species are returning," Emily explained, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. "Life is coming back to these worlds. And the Concordat members, they're actually helping." "Amazing what happens when you show people a better way," Walker mused. Through his neural implant, he received a priority alert from Earth Command. Speaking of which, the hologram shifted, showing a massive fleet approaching the solar system. But unlike 6 months ago, these ships came in peace, representatives from dozens of species who had suffered under the old Concordat, coming to join the new Galactic Alliance. "Your strategy worked perfectly," Emily noted. "You never planned just to defeat them, did you?" Walker shook his head. "Humanity learned long ago that victory without purpose is meaningless. We didn't just want to protect our oceans, we wanted to change how the galaxy thinks about resources altogether." His neural implant pulsed with another update. The Leviathan, under Lieutenant Colonel Williams's command, had successfully tested the new hybrid drive system, a fusion of human water technology and Concordat quantum engineering. Ships could now travel faster than light without consuming massive water resources. "Dr. Andrews," he said, turning to face her fully, "your protocol isn't just restoring oceans. It's restoring hope. Every species out there that lost their waters, every civilization that was forced to submit, they're all watching Earth now. We're not just leading, we're showing them how to rebuild." The observation deck's doors slid open, admitting a delegation of Concordat representatives. Their crystalline forms now shimmered with new patterns, signs of their cultural transformation. The lead delegate, once the High Administrator, now served as an equal on the Alliance Council. "Admiral Walker." The delegate resonated, its tones carrying respect rather than the old arrogance. "The first wave of diplomatic vessels approaches. 27 species await first contact." Walker nodded, remembering how differently first contact had gone for Earth. "Ensure they understand. We're not creating a new empire. We're building something better." Through the vast windows, he could see the combined fleet of human and reformed Concordat ships. The Poseidon suits, once weapons of war, now served as deep space construction platforms. The mighty Leviathan had become a symbol not of destruction, but of protection. "There's a saying from Earth's oceans," Walker told the assembled delegates. "A rising tide lifts all boats." That's what we're creating here. A galaxy where advancement doesn't come at the cost of destruction, where strength doesn't mean domination. Emily's holographic display shifted again, showing the spreading effect of the Andrews Protocol across the galaxy. Hundreds of worlds, marked for restoration. Thousands of species ready to join the Alliance. Millions of possibilities, born from the day humanity chose not just to fight, but to lead. 6 months ago, Walker concluded, space stood still as humanity revealed its power. Today, it moves forward as we reveal our purpose. We are the children of Earth's oceans, and we will ensure that every world, every species, has the chance to thrive. As the diplomatic fleet approached, carrying hope and possibility from across the galaxy, Walker thought about how far they'd come. Humanity had turned a moment of crisis into an opportunity for transformation, proving that their greatest strength wasn't in their weapons or technology, but in their capacity to imagine and create a better future for all.